Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam? Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots.
Sitting up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant, and the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember hearing the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys no more fights, and so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight. There's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad
One
game.
kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, "I'm going to put an end to this." And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, "What is going on around here?" And the kid says, "That Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that." So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned the local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
God, I really want that guy to come back. I want him. Please come back. Hey. Welcome, everybody. Happy Halloween. Welcome to the spooky edition of the RP Show, episode number 1368, coming at you here on Game Plus Television. They have secured the Canadian and U.S. national rights to the RP Show. And on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, streaming, of course, on YouTube, if that's your thing. We welcome your questions and comments as we roll along. Our guests today include Taylor Shire, host of the curling show Hardline, also covers the CFL for the Regina Leader-Post. And Kevin the Medium will join us, the biggest orange fan I know of the BC Lions. He says he wants to troll the Smurf Mafia in Winnipeg today. I can't wait for that. Moose is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am in South Florida. And hey, happy Halloween, Moose. Do you want to explain your outfit?
How about that?
You fit?
Well, you know, it's game day today, and me and Devontae Adams. That's my favorite picture of us, by the way. Yeah, me and Devontae from our good old Green Bay days. But no, went with the Aaron Rodgers. Going to have some fun today on the show. But, you know, I noticed yesterday, and I don't know when you put it up, so kudos to you. But I noticed the skull. I noticed the balloon. Midway through yesterday's show, it took me a minute. And I'm like, wait a second. And you know me from back in our studio days. Like, I like to put up the Thanksgiving Day foliage and like put up some decorations in the studio, you know, decorate for Christmas, all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you putting the Halloween decorations in the set.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The receptionist here at our studio, Yvonne, you're probably going to be hearing a lot more about Yvonne. I love her. She reminds me a lot of my mom, Darren. And I bought her a tray of cupcakes at Publix. And then I also bought this balloon and the skull. I was going to give them all to Yvonne for her front desk. And I'm like, wait a minute, I should celebrate. I should decorate my own set with this. So I gave her the cupcakes. I said, when we're off the air on Thursday, I'll bring you the decorations. And you know why she reminds me of my mom? She's from Pittsburgh. She's a big Penguins fan. She's a huge Penguins fan. And you knew my mom. Her appearance means the world to her. So she's a huge sports fan. She's always dolled up, to use a term of my mom's. And I just love her. And so I'm bringing her gifts, and she'll get more gifts once our show is done today. But I wanted to get into the Halloween spirit. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? So I'm going to tell you something. It's in my commentary today. There's only one bad thing. There's only one bad thing I've identified with living in the Eastern time zone, and you get it. It's sports watching. Now, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series. They edged the New York Yankees 7-6 at Yankee Stadium in Game 5 of the best-of-7 MLB championship. New York led 5-0 after 4 innings. That's when I went to bed. But L.A. countered with a 5-run fifth to tie it up. It was the second World Series title for the Dodgers in 5 seasons, and their 8th overall. I got up this morning, and Serena was like, so the Dodgers won, huh? I'm like, what? The Yankees were up 5. They were launching bombs last night at Yankee Stadium. The place was going nuts. I was sure they had it in hand. And by the way, it was like 10:30, so we're good. I'm going to bed. So I don't know about you. I mean, there's millions and millions of people that live in the Eastern time zone, but I feel like every morning's Christmas. Every morning I open my phone or turn on SportsCenter, I don't know what I'm going to get. I guess that's the bonus of it.
It is. What was that, the third inning? It was already 5-0, I believe. And to be honest,
yeah, it was.
That's when I started. Yeah. That's when I started watching the game. Leanne's gone. I work trip, took her to the airport, was doing some other things, and I'm like, I got to watch this World Series game. And then I watched. Honestly, I was a little bit like you. Like when it was 5-0, I'm like, I can watch Netflix for a little bit. This game's kind of over. But I kept checking back in, and then I saw them start to come back and tie it, and then Yankees got the lead back. It was a hell of a game last night. It was a lot of fun. And then some drama throughout every inning. It was the best game for me of the entire series. And a fun way for it to end, and the Dodgers win. I just feel bad for the Yankee fans because pretty disappointing to lose it all.
Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Because I'm watching the game last night thinking, now I can see why people hate the Yankees. And we could sit and talk about this forever. And I don't mind talking about it. We focus on NHL, CFL, NFL on this show, but if I feel like everybody's talking about the World Series right now in my sphere, in my circle, so I'm okay with it. And we started watching the Netflix series The Comeback last night. There are 3 episodes, and I love/hate watching those old sports documentaries because you sit and wonder what was going on. You remember what was going on in your life at that time, 2004, right, when the Red Sox were the only team in baseball history to come back from 0-3 down and win a series. And then it just led perfectly into Game 5 of the World Series. And, yeah, The Comeback, everybody. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it on Netflix. And like I say, just out here, I'd like to stay up for it, but I get up really early, as you know. And my business manager, who I stayed with last summer in Moose Jaw, Joe Gunnis, he knows this. I'm up real early, like 5:30 in the morning. Can't do that. Can't do it. So bravo to the Dodgers. The Yankees have won their World Series. They've won enough of them, Darren. But the thing is, if you go back and watch that Netflix series, you'll – because we do – what I love the most about these series is we can't forget the history. Under Joe Torre, the Yankees won 3 in a row, 4 out of 5 years. I mean, we're all alive for it, but you don't really stop and think about that stuff, So, yeah, I love those series. The text line's open for Alapera Skincare, 902-518-3033. John writes in from Rosthern. He says, Rod, nice plant stand behind you. Did your grandma give it to you? Go Blades. No, John. Your mom did.
But boom.
Too painful, Dad? Is that too?
Burn.
Moving on to point 2. NHL leftovers. Hope you're hungry, Moose. Which, by the way, when I left Johnny O's, I crushed 5 mini chocolate bars this morning when I left Johnny O's. I had just run 4 miles.
Yes.
And I'm like, if there's ever a time I could pound 5 mini chocolate bars, it's Halloween and right now, as my body is craving calories. So, yeah, I'm in a holiday Halloween spirit. The Winnipeg Jets were quick to get back into the win column with a convincing 6-2 victory over the host Detroit Red Wings last night. Jets forward Kyle Connor stretched his season-opening point streak to 10 straight games with 9 goals and 8 helpers in that span. The Utah Hockey Club snapped a 4-game losing skid with a 5-1 win over the visiting Calgary Flames. And the New Jersey Devils thumped the Vancouver Canucks 6-0 at Rogers Arena, with goalie Jacob Markstrom registering a 20-save shutout in his first shutty as a Devil. Canucks defenseman Tyler Myers called the loss embarrassing. Those are the highlights of what went on in the National Hockey League on Wednesday night. You and I tied 3-3 in our picks. We'll be playing our NHL breakaway bets a little later on in the program. The Leafs are home to the Seattle Kraken tonight. I have so many thoughts on that. Does the S in the Kraken jersey stand for Saskatchewan? Because they got Jordan Eberle, they got Jaden Schwartz, Riker Evans, the former Regina Pats, scored a couple the other night. They had Hayden Fleury on their expansion team. They don't anymore. But anyways, that's tonight. As far as last night's games go, Cale Fleury's there. Has he always been there? Chandler, right. Chandler Stevenson from Saskatoon. So that should be Saskatchewan's team. I know it's not. You have your rooting interest, and that's fine. You don't change your teams like I do, like we change our underwear. But anyways, Flames fans, don't get too far down. It's year one of a rebuild. I'll get to that. What are your thoughts from last night's NHL games?
Yeah, the Canucks, well, they're going to put together a decent season. It's a bit of a crazy little journey they're going on, and it's not easy. I mean, they were out of the gate and everybody was upset, but then all of a sudden you look at the record, I think they were 4-1-2, but Pedersen's not scoring, and there's dissension there about Elias Pedersen, and he's just not producing at the same level, and Rick Tocchet's kind of like, well, he's not really watching film and putting in the work consistently enough, and fans are just upset, and they have high expectations for the Vancouver Canucks. But like you said about the Flames, I'd say don't get too down on the Canucks. Don't get too down on the Flames. And for the Flames, this is kind of the plan. So you're losing, but this is part of the plan. And for the Canucks, losing's not part of the plan, but no. Rick Tocchet's got an idea here of, okay, if I have to correct some behaviors, we're going to lose some games, and I'm okay with that, because we're going to correct this, and then we're going to win a lot of games down the stretch. So I trust that Rick Tocchet's got a plan in Vancouver.
Sure, short-term pain for long-term gain. I got what you were saying, Moose. I don't know if anybody else did, but I got it. But I go back to the Flames, and I said it yesterday. I'll say it again here. I loved my time in Calgary the past couple of years and hope to get back there soon, do some shows. But for the Flames fans, the long-suffering Flames fans, they finally had the balls as an organization to say, screw what we're doing. Let's go into a rebuild and do it right. And that's exactly what they're doing. And the fact that they jumped out to a best franchise history start in 52 years just told me that they have the right people there. They're just inexperienced and too young, but they'll all grow together. So don't worry about it. In Vancouver, I could see why you would be a little panicked, but I'm with you. The Canucks now aren't the Canucks in April. They're not even going to be recognizable with the way that they play right now. Hour one's brought to you by Culligan. Drink clean, live green. Filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Quick note, Pats got bombed last night by the Calgary Hitmen, and the Rams are on the road to Manitoba this weekend in a Canada West semifinal. The Huskies are at UBC. You're welcome to the fans of those teams. Point three, the AFC South leading Houston Texans take on the host New York Jets in the NFL Thursday Nighter. Texans have won 4 of their last 5. Jets have lost 5 in a row. Houston's going to be without its top 2 wide receivers. Stephon Diggs is out for the season with a torn knee ligament, and Nico Collins is sidelined with an injured hamstring. Was it you fiddling with this, or was it Jim Lang on this show earlier in the week going, can't figure out why the Jets are favored at home? I just read off that the Texans are struggling too, but they're favored. I think it's 2.5 I saw. That still shocks me. How do you feel about tonight's
6-2 versus
game?
2-6, and it's the 2-6 Jets
Exactly.
that are favored by 2.5 points. I mean, partly at home. I think too, it's about where's the money going to come in, and I think a lot of people too are thinking, okay, the Jets are going to figure this out pretty quickly. It's another week with Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams together, so they're naturally just going to continue to get better. I don't think the Jets are going to get worse. That combination's not going to. They're going to get better. Texans are banged up a bit, so maybe there's some factors that have the betting public, coming in on the Jets a little bit more than normal. But yeah, it's a weird one for me, man. Very, very weird.
Well, I've finally figured this out. Well, we can sit here and scratch our heads, or me. Again, I'll only speak for myself, not everybody else. With what the odds makers are thinking, usually when I do that, they are right. So they end up being right. So tune in tonight to find out just what the hang is going on in the NFL Thursday nighter with the New York Jets favored by 2.5, and they're the team that's lost 5 in a row. I don't get it. Couple of CFL notes here. We have a few minutes for it. Man, things move fast, and this is what's great about daytime sports talk. We're not here like some of these TV channels running on a loop the highlights from last night. From the CFL, Chris Morris has been named the new president and chief executive of the Edmonton Elks. He was an O-lineman with the team from 92 to 05, won a couple of Grey Cup titles with the team. Actually, I think he won 3. He spent the last 12 years as head coach of the University of Alberta's U Sports football team, and I saw you, Darren, extolling his virtues on Twitter after having dealings with him the past few years in Canada West. And then furthermore, today's news, this just came out this morning. Running back Brady Oliveira, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell are the finalists for the CFL's Outstanding Player Award. Oliveira led the CFL in rushing this season with 1,353 yards, while Bo Levi was the league leader in passing yards and touchdowns. So that is our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Let them find the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. That is the poll question. Now, with the finalists being named, who should be the most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League this year? Winnipeg's Brady Oliveira or Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell? Clark, what is the YouTube vote, if you don't mind? Because on Twitter, Bo's winning in a romp. What's that on YouTube? He says, okay, on YouTube, 65% for Brady Oliveira. So the point is, the media is going to vote the way that they do, and the coaches have a vote as well. But our viewers, I think, know more than those guys. So let's settle it here over the next 24 hours with a vote. I'm still going to vote for Bo. He set a Ticats record for passing yards. All the great quarterbacks they've had through there, Bernie Faloney, Danny McManus come to mind. He set a record, okay? And you jabronis don't want to vote for him because the Ticats missed the playoffs? That is, I don't even like Bo. I'm not acting. I don't like him at all. And I would still vote for him. So I don't like the bias against him, Darren, not at all.
Yeah, how did you word it? Who should win or who will win? Because that changes things a little bit.
I think I said who is the most outstanding player, I think that we said.
Yeah. And, and I said this a few weeks there, a week ago or so, that, I think Brady Oliveira will end up winning the award, and I think that he still will for those reasons. I think that's where the media vote's going to go. I think, there is that piece of the playoffs that does weigh into this, but it's a matter of how much does it weigh into this, And in a year where nobody's jumping off the page with the statistically, and Brady Oliveira's had a great season, and the history he's a part of with Justin McInnis in BC as the only Canadians ever to lead the league in rushing and receiving in the same season. Pretty awesome stuff. But Bo's year on the team that they had, and he didn't even play every game, that's probably as special of a statistical season as there is in the league. And this is such an intriguing vote that I'll be curious to see which way it goes.
It shouldn't even be a discussion to me. Bo was by far the most outstanding player. What the hell am I missing? But whatever. I will say this. This is why we have a vote, because people are writing in already. Rider fans are crying that they got robbed, that Roland Milligan got robbed. No, let's just stop. We live in a democracy. We have a vote. And this is why we have a vote. I don't like where we're going as a society, because there's one thing with all the bitching and the fighting. I don't like that, but that's the way that it is. But then when we have a vote, you need to shut the hell up. and stop whining, saying the voters don't know what they're talking about or what. No, this is the way it's set up. So if you didn't win the vote, shut up. We'll be right back, okay? Here on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio. We're streaming live on YouTube and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up, Clark. Welcome back to the program, everybody. The text line's brought to you by Alaterra. As sports fans, there's nothing we love more than a comeback. In the game against wrinkles, scars, and acne, it's never too late to revitalize your skin with Alaterra Naturals. Check out their website at alaterra.com. Use the promo code RP20 for a 20% discount off your order. I'm smiling because I'm happy. Moose joins us here. I can't remember. I think it was John in Edmonton says, "What's the matter, Moose? Want Rod buy you a real jersey?" I think we're all a little cringed by that Jets cheer team jersey.
What?
Did you make that?
It's creative, man. Creative. And
Okay.
look at, I'm not spending $175 on an Aaron Rodgers jersey. Okay, that's just not.
Okay.
That's not happening.
Okay. I'm telling you, you look like a member of the cheer team. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. The white T-shirts that I have. Okay, I'm like, I don't have a lot of white T-shirts, but I had another white T-shirt that you wear underneath, the sweater or the shirt. That was skin tight, and I'm like, I cannot wear this.
Okay. To the audience, Tony in George Fox country writes in, he says, real happy for Teo Hernandez, Kevin Kiermaier, and Kevin Biggio winning the World Series and getting a ring. These three quality players with their talent, character, and effort left a huge hole in Toronto. Well, hey, get used to it. With what's going on with the Blue Jays. I did a little more examining on this. I mean, maybe the hardcore baseball fans will know this. I don't consider myself a hardcore baseball fan, but casual. I follow the Blue Jays if they're winning, and then I follow the playoffs if they have me engaged. And these did. But you want to talk about two of the biggest spending teams in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are number 2. The Dodgers are number 5 in payroll. It's real easy to find these days. Number 1 is the New York Mets. The Blue Jays are number 9 in payroll, and the Oakland A's are 30th, dead last, Darren. So just because you wrote the biggest check for the best players doesn't necessarily mean you will win a World Series. So I get this. If you're in cheer for one of those teams, you got a chance. Top 5 for sure. If you're in the bottom 10, you know you don't even have a chance every year. And that sucks. Your choice is to keep cheering for your team or not. But you know what? You can't buy a championship. You can't. You can set yourself up with a high payroll. Doesn't guarantee you'll win a World Series. Get what I'm saying?
100%. There is no guarantees, but you do need to spend money and be in the conversation. That's your only way to have a chance to get to the, to compete in baseball. The Jays financially have a shot. Problem is, just not making great decisions. It's one thing to just write checks blindly, but you need to spend the money in the right way at the same time. But you have to spend the money.
Yeah, and that's just with a league that doesn't have a salary cap. For the other leagues, there's a cap that's supposed to make it even, but even then, the same teams always win and the same teams always lose. It comes down to having people at the top that know what they're doing and also culture. I'll be honest. I didn't really think Aaron Judge was going to pull a blunder to cue the first of 3 errors in the 5th inning last night for the Yankees. I mean, I didn't think that was coming. That's why we love sports. He's one of the highest paid guys in the majors for what he does at the plate and in the outfield. And he boffed it. How's he feeling today? Is he in hiding for the Yankees fans? See what I'm saying? You can pay for the biggest players. Doesn't mean that even they're perfect. That's why we love sport. Regarding the Bo Levi thing, again, you got to just let it go. Like Darren, you like I say, you can politic and campaign for your point in anything, whether it's with your wife, whether it's with your boss, or whether it's who you want to win the election. But if you lose, you got to move on. You got to accept it. Like Darren, Utah Darren writes in, he says, should the most outstanding player, it should be the most outstanding player, not the most outstanding player on a winning team. Is Bo going to win this thing? Do you think he's going to win? Because I just feel this anti-Bo sentiment. I got to let go the injustices that I see in the world. I got to let them go. That's a new thing that I'm working on now. Come a long way. Still got a long ways to go.
I got to go back and see this MVP, MOP situation and, the award when it was created, because there is no MVP. There's an MVP of the Grey Cup, and it is worded MOP. But we all kind of have this argument all the time. Well, is it a most outstanding or is it most valuable? Is it meant to be the most valuable player, but we call it the most outstanding because we want it to be unique? Or is it actually about who's most outstanding over value, and all the rest? And we can have that argument. I think we got to go to the forefathers and decide and figure out who created it and ask them what they were thinking and what the award actually means.
Well, yeah, and this is the kind of thing that makes sports not fun. Why do we have to split hairs? Why do you got to go and read the freaking bylaws and Constitution on this? By the way, Aloterra Skincare text line, Stephen Sawchuk writes in from Stony Mountain, Manitoba. He says, hey, Rod. Stephen here, military guy who sent you the 435 Squadron patches, which, by the way, I'm going to be putting up on the wall behind me, these military patches I got sent from Stony Mountain, Manitoba. Thank you, Stephen. He says, I feel like the Dodgers pitching was just overall way too dominant for the Yankees hitters. And as a Bomber fan, Bo Levi is 100% the CFL most outstanding player this season. Like I'll say it, I don't get, if you don't like the guy, then just say you don't like the guy. Don't put him on the TSN panel. How are you guys on the TSN set, like you, Milt, going to look Bo in the eye at Grey Cup because you've been campaigning against him for the last month, and now you got to work with him. How's that going to go? Why is there this campaign against Bo? I don't get it. And I don't even like him. Jim in Balgoni writes in. He says, good morning, y'all. Nothing like starting off the show with a good your mom zinger. Buckle up, y'all. Love it. You got a sound effect for that, Clark?
How about
anything
that?
will do. That'll work. Chad in Lethbridge writes in and he says, loved watching the Yankees fall apart in the fifth. Judge forgot how to catch a fly ball to start the circus. The momentum took a swing and Dodgers never looked back. Love the Freddie Freeman story. A homer in 6 straight games. Just a feel-good story with his son in the hospital this summer. And he's got Canadian roots. Yeah, that's like I say, there's a lot of people following the World Series more than I actually thought that there would be in our circle, our viewers. I think it's just a little different from the same mundane discussions every day. Jeff the Stamps fan says, people don't like Bo because he's confident. Ah, yes. Kevin, the old Kevin, the medium, writes in and says, and the real question is he wearing green socks? Are you, Moose? You want to put on? You're probably wearing no socks, if I know you.
Yeah, no socks. I ain't putting my feet up on the camera. I mean, you got to pay extra for that.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that? Bingo.
Super chat, like $50, and you can see my feet.
Hot damn. I like it.
John in Edmonton writes in. He says, Rod, are you handing out candy tonight? I don't know, John. Are you coming to my house? Probably not.
Spicy.
I'm going to be on the South Florida Tribune podcast tonight live, just like this, but here in South Florida tonight, 7:30 Eastern. If you want to watch it, me and the Motor City Madmouth, Scott Morganroth, going to be chopping it up, talking Florida NHL hockey tonight. So I won't be. Maybe Serena will be handing out chocolate. Probably. Cardinal Ryan in New York, I don't really understand his comment. I'll read it because I like him. He goes, Moose, if anyone asks you about your costume, just tell them you got your jersey at Temu. LOL. What's he talking about?
It's the discount app where you can buy cheap stuff on the internet.
That's what they're calling it now?
Used to be Wish. Now it's Temu.
Okay. Serena and I were driving down Commercial Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale the other day, and there was 2 hookers standing on the corner. And she made a comment. They were standing in front of the dentist office. She made a comment about that. And I was like, you don't see many hookers anymore. I thought it was all online. I thought it all moved online. That's what I hear.
But
I'm glad to not know the ins and outs of that. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes it. He says, the Blue Jays need to extend Vladdy first and foremost. That will help them with the big-time free agents, in my opinion. Blue Jays' 9th largest payroll in Major League Baseball and didn't even make the playoff. How about that? Where the heck is it here regarding the Flames last night? Jeff the Stamps fan, you might want to check what's in his thermos this morning. He's given, here it is. He goes, I'm not going to criticize the Flames too much. They get a mulligan this year in my book. And he also says, he said yesterday, aren't the Stampeders allowed a hiccup? Sure, if you want. I just don't like to see guys get fired. I know that's the business, but Brent Monson, the Stamps defensive coordinator, has got 2 little kids. I follow him on social media. We're friends. I know him. I don't know if we're friends or not, but he's been on this show. Juwan Simpson. I'd like to see guys lose their jobs. Everybody says, well, you should get used to it. It still doesn't feel good. Okay? I don't like scapegoating. I don't like the injustices, as I said earlier. So if you want to give them a pass, go ahead. I also go along with the Dave Dickinson, John Huffnagel are proven football men. And I guess, hey, I don't cheer for the Stamps. If you want to give them a mulligan, go ahead. For the Dallas Cowboys, in the recovery world, Darren, we call it this. I've detached with love from the Dallas Cowboys. I still love you, Cowboys, but I'm not going to let you affect my life. It's detaching with love. You might want to think about doing that with the Leafs, Darren. Just pointing that out there. Tony from Cochrane says, Coach Ryan Husker really messed up the lineup last night, and they were horrible. And Huberdeau was turning into the biggest floater in the league. Oh, here we go. And a week ago, they were off to their best start in franchise history, and they were going to make the playoffs, and they were going to add a center and. Too much. I'll see you in hour 2, Moose.
You bet. See you then.
Taylor Shire's in next. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, and, of course, in podcast form at Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Skate into the holiday season with the Stars. Stars on Ice 2024 Holiday Tour. With figure skating icon Elvis Stoico, Olympic medalist Caitlin Osmond, Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Poget, Keegan Messing, Satoko Miyahara, and more. Stars on Ice. Coming to Moose Jaw Event Center December 20th. Unwrap your tickets at starsonice.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpeterson.com. A lot of things to chat with Taylor Shire about from the Regina Leader-Post as he joins us now on the RP show on a Thursday. Hey, I like your costume, Taylor. I like your costume. You are dressed as a small-town Sask boy newspaper columnist. You nailed it.
There you go. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Hey, same costume, same guy. Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, before we get into all the other stuff, I'm going to ask you who you're going to vote for MVP of the CFL. Now we know it's Brady Oliveira versus Bo Levi. This ain't Trump versus Kamala, man. You can tell us. This ain't Mo versus Carla Beck. Who do you think should win this award, Taylor? Come on.
It's such, I mean, I haven't decided yet, to be honest. If you look at the statistical numbers of each player, Bo Levi Mitchell is clearly ahead of Brady Oliveira in terms of what the body of work was, right? So do we take into account team stats and who's playing in the playoffs and who finished out of the playoffs and who finishes first? I think that'll be the debate with a lot of people over the next couple of days when the voting window opens. So I honestly haven't decided yet. I'm going to think about it, sit down and look at some more numbers and maybe look at some past votes to see if there have been any non-playoff quarterbacks, running backs, whoever it may be, MOPs winning the award. So we'll see.
It's rare, but Stephen from Stony Mountain, Manitoba writes back on the Aloterra Skincare text line. He says, a lot of the hate towards Bo comes from how he would come across as very cocky for a lot of years. I really enjoy him on the TSN panel, though. Oh, if being cocky barred you from winning awards, we wouldn't have anybody winning awards. But anyways, why do I care so much? Lions Riders Saturday should be a lot of fun. Tell me about why and how you're looking forward to that game.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. And if you think about back in June, early July, these were the two teams. I think they both started 5-1. It was like, okay, we're going to be set up for a Lions Riders showdown come playoff time. And here we are, although both teams obviously stumbled quite a bit in the middle of summer or early fall. And now it seems like both teams are kind of fighting their stride at the right time. The Riders obviously went on that 4-game winning streak. And I don't really even think we can talk about last week's sort of whatever you want to call that against the Stampeders. It was just sort of a lackluster effort with backup. So I'll say the Riders still have momentum from their previous 4-game winning streak, while the Lions obviously have a bit of a jolt in the arm with Vernon Adams coming back at quarterback. I feel like if it was Nathan Rourke coming in here and BC, they just lost in Mosaic Stadium a couple of weeks ago and they looked uninspired. So if it was Nathan Rourke coming in, I would say, the Riders are the obvious favorite to win this game. But with Vernon Adams, I feel like there's a shot in the arm that the Lions have, and they obviously looked good against Montreal a couple weeks ago, and then they're coming off a bye week. So I feel like they're a more inspired team with Vernon Adams leading them, and I think it's going to be a complete showdown. I can't pick a winner right now because I think it's just going to come down. It's going to be one of those games, in my opinion, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have no idea which BC Lions are going to show up. We don't. Nobody. I don't even think they know. But the Riders have a pretty good idea who they are, right? They're hosting a home playoff game, and if they are, I'm with you. If they play to their capability, they will win the football game. Kevin, the medium, will join us next hour to talk about that. But it's exciting that you are hosting your own show again, Taylor. Curling this time. Tell us about the Hardline, please.
Yeah, I guess back to my broadcasting roots. I can't take the broadcaster out of me. The Hardline Curling Show is set to launch Friday, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. It's all things curling, and we're going to cover absolutely everything from grassroots all the way up to the stuff going on at the national and even international level on tomorrow's show, the debut episode. We're going to talk to CEO of Curling Canada, Nolan Thiessen, the CEO of USA Curling, Dean Gemmell. So a couple of heavy hitters to start us off. And the thing I like about curling is that just the personalities in the game are unlike any other sport, in my opinion. There's just so much personality with athletes, with everybody involved in the game, and I think that's something that I want to bring through to our viewers is to just sort of let the personalities of our guests shine, and that's the goal. So yeah, episode 1 launches tomorrow, and you can find it on Facebook, YouTube, and on Curling Canada Plus. So just look up the Hardline Curling Show on any one of those tomorrow night, and you'll be able to check it out.
Good for you, man. That is exciting, and you're right about all those things. I've been covering curling for decades too. Were you at the Briar last year? I smile because it was just the most eclectic group field. You had to have been at the Briar. It was in Regina. I mean, for Mike McEwen to make the final, man, that's going to be tough to top this year.
Yeah, it was just a great event to cover, and again, those personalities. Every time we talk to the curlers, that's kind of the story. Is like, sure, you get to cover the games, but the people behind the line scores and whatnot really made the stories that week. And yeah, for Mike McEwen, a personable guy, to get to the final and go up against Brad Gushu again, and obviously how McEwen got there, and having the support of the home crowd and everything. It was electric. It was one of the most electric events I've ever covered, in my opinion. I don't remember the Brandt Center being that loud and sort of rambunctious. Maybe like the Memorial Cup quite a few years ago, I guess, would be the closest thing, sort of when Connor Bedard was in there for a couple of games. But it was just sort of this event that, yeah, it'll be hard to top. But I think McEwen kind of put his foot down and said, he's going to stay, right? His team is built to win in Saskatchewan. He came to Saskatchewan and wanted to win here, and Saskatchewan hasn't obviously won in a long time at the Briar. So I think that team will be here to stay, and maybe they'll make some noise this year.
You talk about it rocking. It wasn't like people were coming from across the country. There were those that did, but it was the SAS people that were blowing the roof off the place. So maybe this will be the year. I'm with you on that. And to be honest, I actually just saw video and photos from a pretty high-level curling league that started where the Panthers just opened in their new practice rink in Fort Lauderdale. So I feel like curling is making a major comeback. What do you sense?
Yeah, you know what? In talking with both CEOs, Nolan and Dean, north of the border and of course in the States, that was sort of one of the things that they said, is that the sport is growing. It's just a matter of getting more people involved in the game at that grassroots level. I think a lot of people do watch the big events, and with the Olympics coming up in a couple of years now, that obviously draws more excitement as we get towards who's going to represent each country at that. I think one of the things in the States is it's the resources in terms of the venues of where they can play. I think maybe that's the more challenging part, is are there enough venues to get from kids to adults to at a recreational level to get out and play and get involved in the sport. So I didn't get the sense that the sport is dying from either guy, and I don't think anyone would come out and say that. Obviously, there are clubs closing around. There are some in Saskatchewan closing or falling on hard times, but I still think there are efforts at that sort of executive level to grow the game and continue to grow the game.
Well, I look forward to following your show. They got no better guy to host it. Taylor, thanks for the time, and enjoy the game this weekend.
Awesome. Thanks for the chat, Roddy.
Taylor Shire from the Leader-Post and the host of Hardline, the world's newest curling program, and I think it's going to be the best one, too. Sports update coming up next. Viewer takeover. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV, WQBE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. the Create Space at IKS.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay. Stay tuned for a sports update, and then we'll get to your comments. I got a lot of thoughts. Remind me of these on the Calgary Stampeders. Okay, you are charged with reminding me. But a sports update on this Thursday, the Los Angeles Dodgers woke up as World Series champions today after capitalizing on a New York Yankees meltdown to secure their second title in 5 years. Overcoming a 5-run deficit, the Dodgers clinched a dramatic 7-6 victory at Yankee Stadium, sealing the series 4-1. LA first baseman Freddie Freeman, who represents Canada internationally, was named series MVP. Rowdy crowds filled the streets of Los Angeles after the Dodgers' World Series victory, setting a bus on fire. Smart. Breaking into stores and setting off firecrackers. Police reported multiple arrests. Video showed individuals throwing objects at officers and others standing atop a bus waving a Dodgers banner while some left a boarded-up store with sneakers. It was unclear if there were any injuries. Don't paint the whole town by a couple of idiots, okay? Without superstar Connor McDavid, the Edmonton Oilers continue their 4-game road trip tonight in Smashville. The captain's sidelined for 2 to 3 weeks due to an ankle injury. The Leafs and Montreal Canadiens are also in action. Toronto hosts Seattle. Montreal visits Washington. The sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Joker, Fully Due. From writer-director Todd Phillips, the much-anticipated follow-up to 2019's Academy Award-winning Joker, which earned more than $1 billion at the global box office. In Landmark Cinemas now. Joker Folie à Deux. How about this for all of you haters on the Joker movie? I'm not going to name any of you, John Ohm and the rest, that said, don't waste my money. I read a review from Quentin Tarantino, who said it was absolute genius. Genius, that movie. Joker Folie à Deux. He was kind of talking over some of our heads, I guess, maybe. But he goes, it was well worth the money. It needed to be enjoyed with a crowd, not at home streaming. So, yeah, I'm going to go. John Ohm, speaking of, says, what position does a ghost play in hockey? A goalie. Not bad.
That's hot.
Big news, obviously, in Calgary this week with their coaches not all, but a lot of them being fired. Special teams coordinator Mark Kellum, defensive coordinator Brent Munson, D-line coach Juwan Simpson. Tony and Cochran writes in, he says, the Stampeders could have had Tom Brady at quarterback, and the defense would have given up more points than he could muster. Yeah, maybe. I'm still wondering who gets a pass, or why are they getting a pass that they don't have a quarterback? They don't know who their quarterback's going to be going into next year. How do the Calgary Stampeders not have a franchise quarterback? And it's not those coaches' fault, which, by the way, I'm not defending them. I'm not their PR guy or torching the Calgary Stampeders. I mean, this is what I'm realized over the last little while. A lot of things have changed since I came back to Florida 2 months ago, Labor Day weekend. A lot of things have dawned on me. It ain't the same time in sports anymore. You tell me who in the media in your market is holding your team's feet to the fire. In Calgary, the old George Johnsons, Edmonton, Terry Jones, Toronto, Steve Simmons does it a little bit, but not like the guys used to. People don't do it anymore. I don't know why. If they're scared of the teams, scared of the audience, I don't know. But what I know is I don't need to be on the spit list of the leagues or the team. I don't care. So if the media in Calgary is not going to hold the Stampeders' feet to the fire, why would I? John Ohm says, tell us how the Joker movie was, Rod. I warned you. Well, I haven't been yet, and I don't know if I'll go today because I don't think I have time. There's a lot of things going on. I'm hoping to get to it this weekend. Friday night, we got a really big game at FAU. It's the FAU Owls, Florida Atlantic University against the South Florida Bulls. Homecoming night for FAU. The stadium is right down the street from my house here in Boca. Tonight, I got the South Florida Tribune podcast. I don't think I got time to squeeze in a movie. I've looked it up. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes long. Joker Folie à Deux. So I will go. Just not necessarily in the next few days. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in. He says, Paul Friesen in Winnipeg. The rest of the sports writers in the local media tend to be pretty civil. Don't want to say anything that would get you cut off from the press box buffet. That's what it is. We'll talk about this all and more coming up after this brief pause.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Esteban and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, buddy. Welcome to Hour 2. It is Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you from South Florida, but also Toronto. Let's bring the moose in, and Darren, you'll be very happy to know Craig Campbell has written in, and he says, Happy Halloween from the Hockey Hall of Fame. So happy Halloween to you guys at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I just love them so much. They make me feel warm and fuzzy. What's up with you? What do you got going on here as we enter Hour 2?
Not much. I'm just, excited. Thursday night football, the World Series is done. I feel like we're going to slow down a little bit and get into the rhythm of the back half of the NFL season, into the NHL season. College is going to slowly wind down. And that's the franticness. That's what September and October is. It's just frantic. And so I hope we can just find some routine here.
I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me. I'm having a tough time keeping up with everything here. Darren is in his Aaron Rodgers homemade shirt on Halloween, Thursday Night Football. What?
Oh, I can't show you. I can't show you. I only did half. There's the cutoff line. I only did half. What was going to be on camera
if you throw that in the washer, will everything get washed off that shirt? Is it in green Crayola
Good question.
marker?
I don't know.
Okay.
It is. It's washable.
Okay.
Washable. Yeah.
Right. Good for you, man. Well, and Darren is alone. You mentioned it last hour that you've taken your lovely gal to the airport. Fred Flintstone would call that a pleasure trip, Actually, it was the mother-in-law. I just got back from a pleasure.
Yes, the mother-in-law.
I just got back from the
Taking
pleasure.
the
I took my
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law to the airport. Yeah.
Unreal.
This is hour 2 where we get far more conversational than hour 1, where we rip through the sports topics, which is a good thing. Director Jordan, can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please? Ba-ba-ba-bum-bum. Just to reset what we're doing on the program today, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series last night. They're second in the last 5 years. They're 8th overall, and I really enjoyed it. I did. I was getting into the series. I think we all were. I went to bed last night after the 4th inning with the Yankees up 5-0. Oh, no, as Rick Regan would say.
Oh, no.
Woke up today and found out that the Dodgers came back and won the game 7-6. I said, it sucks living in the Eastern time zone. It's even worse for those of you I know out in the Atlantic time zone. But the good news is every morning you wake up, it's like Christmas, looking at the sports scores. So that's the positive. I talked about the Netflix series, The Comeback, and you really should go watch it. It's a 3-part series on Netflix. It's about the Boston Red Sox coming back from 0-3 down. The only team in Major League Baseball history to that point to do it and win a series after being down 0-3. So the Dodgers have won the World Series. As Darren just said, baseball is over. To our Western Canadian Baseball League fans, they announced the schedule yesterday on the very day that the MLB season ended. I found that interesting. I just told you who we broadcast to and what we're on, but our ratings and all our numbers show you that Western Canada is that's our power base, as Serena says, and what she does. And I was talking to Joe this morning, my business manager. He runs our show business-wise. I said, Western Canadian Baseball League, how much marketing do they need to do? Every stadium was sold out all summer long. Think about that. So don't tell me Canadians or Western Canadians don't like baseball. The whole season was sold out. I think they got to add seats this year. NHL leftovers from last night. Jets won. Canucks got spanked. Flames got spanked. We're going to play NHL breakaway bets coming up here later on this hour. That was named by one of our viewers, Nelson Hackowich, our VP of Sim Events. NHL breakaway bet. We are the most inclusive program on television, radio, or streaming. There's no doubt. Thursday night football tonight. The New York Jets are home to the Houston Texans. Darren and I and a lot of football fans can't figure out how the Jets are favored. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 2-6, and they host Danny Barrett and the Houston Texans tonight, who come in at 6-2. But you know what? Tune in and find out, because the odds makers aren't usually wrong. CFL playoffs, we haven't really talked about. Tomorrow we're going to talk about it a lot, all day. Little preview for everybody. Into the playoffs, the offseason, we'll save all the football talk for Fridays. It's going to be a lot of hockey once the Grey Cup is handed out. NHL tonight we'll get to, as I mentioned, and then point 6 is the always fun randoms. And I want to point something out to you. Scale of 1 to 10, and be honest, Darren, you always are. Where does college football rate? You're a Michigan Wolverines fan. Pretty good time for you to jump on their bandwagon. Where does it rate 1 to 10 for you? Just overall, not just the blue.
Yeah, no, it rates pretty good for me. Probably, like, if 1 was the best, it would probably, well, out of 10, no, 10 out of 10 is the best. It would probably rate today about a 6.5 out of 10. But overall, college football for me is about an 8 out of 10. We're in a bit of a lull right now. And with the college football playoff expanded to 12 teams, every single one of these weeks isn't as big as it used to be, where 1 loss could eliminate you from contention for the college football championship, the national championship. 2 losses definitely would eliminate you from the championship. Now, 2 losses, you still have a chance. So for me, like Ohio State, Penn State, 3-4 is going to be great this week. I'm looking forward to that. But outside of that, not much until we get into Christmas time.
It's funny you say that. I'm a 6 out of 10 myself. You said you're 6.5. But Friday night here, the Florida Atlantic University Owls, under the guidance of head coach Tom Herman, are home to the Cross-State University of South Florida Bulls. Matt DeBuck, he's been on this show, football guy, friend of mine. His son, Trey's the long snapper for the Bulls. and I'm going to the game. The Buck can't go because Cardinal Gibbons is playing their last game of the regular season before playoffs. So I said to Buck, I said, I can't get a ticket for the game. This is homecoming for FAU Friday night. He goes, don't worry, I'll get you in as a coach. That's pretty cool. But my thing is, I'm not going to get into college football full on until bowl season, and we're not there yet. I don't get into curling until the season of champions season, playoffs, Tankard and Briar and Scotties. And I don't really get into baseball until the playoffs. So it is what it is. Here we are. But it's the most important time of the year in the Canadian Football League. So let's walk this back a second. Had a great preview last hour with Taylor Shire from the Leader-Post in Regina, previewing the Rough Riders and the BC Lions on Saturday. Let's just spend a second on this. And Ottawa, Toronto in the Eastern semi. I'm going all squirrel, Darren. God help me. The news today out of the CFL, I should just mention our poll question. The news today was the finalists were named for all the outstanding player awards. Bo Levi Mitchell will represent the East Division of the Hamilton Tiger Cat, despite the fact his team missed the playoffs, don't you know? Which means nothing to me, but it seems to mean a hell of a lot to the voters. Bo will represent the East for the League Award, and Brady Oliveira of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will represent the West. Rider fans are writing in here very upset that Roland Milligan didn't get nominated for the MVP, didn't get he got nominated, but he didn't win the West. Whatever, that's why we have votes. So I'm asking, who do you think should win? It's down to 2 now. Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell, Brady Oliveira of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I'm voting for Bo. I can't remember. I think you said you wanted to think about it before you cast your vote, which I respect. I do.
Thanks.
Have you thought about it?
I'm ready.
Or you still want to think about it?
Yeah.
You ready? Okay.
No, I'm going to vote for Brady Oliveira to win the award. And to be honest, like, but it is something that deserves to be thought about for a while. Like, this isn't just cut and dry. Like, for me, it's not so cut and dry that, Bo didn't get his team to the playoffs, so he's automatically not eligible. No, he's the East representative. He had a fantastic year. Like, this is a narrow vote. I think the fact that the team didn't get into the playoffs and that he got pulled at one point, deservedly or not, for me factors in a little bit. So front to back wasn't the most, but and Brady Oliveira was part of leading that Winnipeg team from really worst to first throughout the season. So yeah, Brady's got my vote, but it's tight.
There you go. About the playoff games, we'll officially do our picks tomorrow as well as the NFL picks for Week 9. But, the poll question, running away with it yesterday with like 86% of the vote was what's Canada's game of the week in the CFL, and 86% of respondents said it's BC at Sask on Saturday. I don't know what the pre-sale is for the Ottawa-Toronto game on Saturday. I hope it's a big crowd at BMO. That place is awesome when it's full. I broadcast the 2017 Eastern semifinal there, Sask versus Toronto. Should be a good day, 6 hours of football. I haven't really planned out I'm going to watch as much of it as I can. Going to have to watch it on CFL Plus. But I guess what we would tailor it, it's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. 11:11 Mountain. Throwing it out there.
Beautiful.
We don't know which BC Lions are going to show up. You'd think Halloween was on Saturday. You know what I mean? You don't know who's going to show up for the BC Lions. It's very hard to predict. What's your take on those games?
It's very hard to predict. It is extremely hard. Same thing, with Ottawa, Toronto. The Toronto team that showed up last year in the playoffs against Montreal, is that the team that's going to show up? Or is it the team that's kind of really been pretty hot down the stretch and maybe the hottest teams in the league coming into the playoffs in Toronto? But then you look at Ottawa, and if it's Drew Brown at quarterback or whatever the situation is, when he's on and that offense is dialed in with a great game plan, he looks like he can't be stopped. And Ottawa, needs to get... So I'm curious about that. And you're right. Which BC Lions team is going to show up? If Vernon Adams has the mojo going, That's going to be one heck of a game. I can't wait. And we'll see what the crowd looks like in Sask. I know ticket sales have been a little slow, but that place is going to be rocking. BMO is going to be a fun environment. Saturday will be good.
I feel like you for a second, and I say my mind just went down five different roads.
Yes.
Of all those things that you just said. I mean, number one, the attendance for the game, I don't care. I'm seeing these graphics on social media of the stadium and what seats are sold, and I don't care about that at all. I will say this, Sask better not overlook the BC Lions. That's what I can tell you for sure. And I'm pretty sure Corey Mace, the head coach, won't allow that to happen, but you can't control 44 young man's minds. Pretty hard to do. So they're the most intrigue is there. I think Toronto beats Ottawa in a walk on Saturday. They're motivated, the Argos, after what happened last season. I don't think they're going to get past the East Final, but I do think Toronto will win on Saturday. Regarding that most outstanding player event, Shy writes in and says, Bo Levi got benched before playing good this year. So what? Who cares? Why? Quit living in the past. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, the Riders seemed concerned about ticket sales. We're not the Riders, brah. So they should be concerned. I'm not. And I wanted to say this before we break. We'll come back and do a lot of hockey. But I was saying before the end of the hour, I don't know, because I've been doing this business a lot longer than you. That's just fact. I'm a lot older than you. And I started in high school. But we were saying how, I'm like, if nobody in the Calgary media is going to hold the Stampeders' feet to the fire, and, the Terry Joneses of the world in Edmonton are gone, and the George Johnsons in Calgary, and these guys, why the hell would I do it? Why would I do it? You and I have had these discussions off the air, like on the phone. Why is nobody ripping out of these teams? I don't know why. They seem scared of the teams. I mean, I don't need a media pass to go, but to be honest, I'm very grateful that I've gotten one everywhere. But that's just because of my decades in the game. So, for those that don't remember, 4 years ago, when I first came to Florida, I met with the Panthers. I said, can we work together? Can I get a pass? They had no idea who I was. They said, we'll check you out. We'll get back to you. And I thought, I'll never hear from them again. And a day later, they called and said, you're legit. What can we do? Let's work together. And it's been a beautiful relationship since. But that's just me, and I'm very lucky for that. I also don't rip them. Why does the media not hold the teams to task anymore? I don't know. And I'm not expecting you to have the answer. What I'm saying is I have no idea how that changed.
It did change, though. It definitely changed. And, I mean, at scale, we still see it at times, but it's very tough. Like, the teams have more power a little bit when it comes to media because the teams have their own media. And the leagues have their own media, which they didn't in the past. So there's a little more power there to say, I don't need to give you a pass because I can deliver my own media now. We don't need you as much as we used to, whether that's right or wrong.
Okay. I think we're getting warm. I mean, I don't know. This all kind of happened when I was not paying attention, when I was busy calling games. The whole thing turned. What's going on? I didn't realize it. I was too busy. But when we come back, I want to say this. The one beautiful thing about Serena, and there are many, but on our Cats and Bolts podcast, which will drop this afternoon, Florida's favorite hockey show, we talked about how the NHL has made the Florida Panthers darlings. Think about it. They're over in Finland right now playing in the Global Series. They were in Quebec City playing in a preseason game this year against LA a month earlier this month. They're featured in the Prime, Amazon Prime NHL series. The Panthers are the it team. And Serena goes, yeah, because Gary Bettman wanted to raise hockey in Florida, and they've been getting all the breaks. She said that. They've been favored. Not saying the games were rigged. Big difference. But she's saying they've been favored. And to be honest, I know how it feels to be on a team that gets the breaks. Hello, Canada's team. I also know what it's like to be down and kicked by the league. Hello, Saskatchewan Roughriders, before being Canada's team, and also the Regina Pats for 20 years. So I know she's not wrong, but I want you to think in the break about who she says will be the it team next because she feels they're going to move on from the Florida Panthers. Like the LA team, the Anaheim, the California teams, nobody cares about them anymore. They're not the it teams. It's been the Florida teams. NHL's ready to move on to the next. You wait. We'll talk about that and more and get to our NHL breakaway picks for tonight when we come back. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastih.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We're back, everybody. Hey, is your skincare starting rotation giving up big hits to wrinkles, age spots, and acne scars? Revitalize your self-care roster with Alitera's all-natural lineup of nourishing products. Check them out at Alitera.com and use promo code RP20 for 20% off discount from your order. Please bring the moose in. I don't know how this happened, but Darren, but a lot of these comments have gotten past me. So if I can read a few of them, and then we'll get back into our discussion. Happy Halloween, everybody. Darren is going dressed as Aaron Rodgers. I'm right on that, right?
How about that?
You're Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Scott in Toronto writes in and he says, Joker Folie au Deux is 2 hours and 18 minutes too long. Choose violent. Everybody's saying the movie sucks. I'll be the judge of that. Please. Quentin Tarantino, I was reading an article from him saying it was a great movie. And he was glad he went. From Quentin Tarantino. I'll take his advice over Scott from Toronto. No offense. Hang on, Darren. Tony from George Fox Country writes in. He says, outdoor games and grass fields. Did you all hear Kevin Kiermaier's comments in the pregame last night that his body feels much better playing on grass in L.A.? Greasy, muddy football is what it's all about. Isn't the field at Rogers Center's grass now, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You're a season ticket holder.
I know. I'm too busy paying attention to the beer and hot dogs, not what the grass is made out of.
I'm pretty sure that's why they kicked the Argos out of there, to be honest with you. They wanted to make it a grass field, and they didn't want to be farting around with a football field. That's pretty sure that's how it went. Where's my Toronto people at? Taylor in Calgary writes in and says, where's your costume, Rod? I was wearing it last hour. You missed it. Sorry.
How about that?
902-518-3033 is the Alaterra Skincare text line. It's interesting how many people are into the World Series, and I do love that. I mean, as much as they are trying to convince us that the WNBA is so popular and the PWHL is so popular, and to be honest, I see the full arenas. I'm not into it, but I guess it is popular. We still like the old school sports, clearly. At least our audience does. You know, whatever that is, Major League Baseball, CFL, and obviously hockey, which we're going to get to around to in a second. But here's the thing. We were talking about how the media has changed. Here's a wonderful example. The CFL announces on Saturday that Randy Ambrosie is retiring from his post. Everybody ignoring Arash Madani's report that he was being fired. They were just covering that up like a turd in the sandbox. And now today, a story has come out from the Canadian press, Darren, saying, Randy Ambrosie's decision to retire was surprising, given last year during his annual Grey Cup address. Like, when it came out on Saturday, I'm like, but he's not retiring? I'll just go along with it. If you read my 10 Things column, I talked about Randy Ambrosie retiring. And now there's a story here. But league sources have said earlier this month, the CFL's Board of Governors voted on Ambrosie's future. 7 or more teams had to vote in favor of removing Ambrosie for it to become official. That didn't happen. But according to the sources, the vote was still 5-4 in favor, a clear indication that Ambrosie did not have the board's full support. Well, my thing is, it's Thursday. It's 5 days after the report, bro. Nobody's even paying attention anymore. What do you think about the fact that now it's coming out?
I don't know. You know, it's you're right. The news cycle is kind of past. And when they come down to start the process and we start hearing about candidates and interviews and timelines, then it will be back in the cycle, and then this will be topical once again. But, you know, I don't think this is a shock. Rash reported it. You had it in your article, in your column. I mean, this is what we've learned, that this is the case. And footnote, I almost went as Randy Ambrosie for Halloween. I had the scarf ready to go. I just didn't want to buzz my hair off. That was the only thing holding me back.
With hair like that, I wouldn't either. So he went as Aaron Rodgers. So anyways, now it's being reported by the Canadian press that no, he didn't retire. Well, on Saturday you said that he did, the Canadian press. So you wonder why people are so freaking confused. And I'm sitting here, I was brought up in the industry that the truth mattered, accuracy mattered. And that's not the case anymore. So, I'll just go on the air every day and talk for 2 hours and have fun. But don't expect us to be investigative reporters because the messenger gets shot. Are you ready? Oh, I asked you to think about who Serena thinks, my co-host of the Cats and Bolts podcast and the person I live with, who she thinks will be the new darling team after the NHL's done with the Panthers. It was Tampa for a while, and then it was the Florida Panthers. They're going to be done with them soon. Who do you think? I wouldn't have guessed it. I'd be shocked if you guessed it. Who she thinks it'll be.
Well, now I'm curious. But my first thought was Utah. I'm going with Utah. Final answer.
Hers is Nashville. And, this is just a fun sports debate. Just so you know, everybody, I have the utmost respect for her hockey knowledge. Darren knows that. But we don't always agree, her and I. But her reasons for that are that the team's been there for a long time. They've never won a Stanley Cup. U.S. market, pretty good market, but one that could use a little spiffing up. Florida Panthers fit that bill, right? Had a team for a long time, had never won. She thinks it'll be the Nashville Predators will be the it team, getting all the breaks, getting featured in all the games, because Nashville, and Atlanta are both kind of regarded as the hub of the South. And if Gary wants a piece of this money, then Nashville will be the it team, and probably Atlanta will be the next expansion team. One thing I've also realized, too, and thank God I've come to Florida in my advanced age, what are they really into down here? Rolling a little smoke, NASCAR, Bud Light. Yeah, I'm out. I'm not even going to try. You guys go ahead. You've been doing it for 100 years. I'm not even going to jump on that train. I'll stick to my NHL hockey, my football buddies. We're good. Okay. Everybody's writing in. Craig from the Hockey Hall of Fame, John Ohm, Chad in Lethbridge are all saying it's AstroTurf or Field Turf or whatever. Yeah. It's not natural grass at Rogers Center. Thank you for pointing that out. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and wonders if they're into shuffleboard down here. Well, of course, some are. Not everybody's smoking weed and watching NASCAR. Not everybody.
How about that?
But you want to know the wildest thing, Darren? I got invited by former Panthers television broadcaster Jeff Rimmer to come speak to his gang of old men. We'd had this in Regina. These guys, I'm not joking. You probably don't know this because it was long before you and I met. But there's a gang of old men that met at a Chinese food restaurant on Broad Street. And, from time to time, I would go in and address them. It was the weirdest thing. I felt like I was naked in front of the room with them. But they just sat there, ate their Chinese food, and asked me questions. They had a name for the club. I can't remember what it was. Like, there's a Rotary Club, too, which is far more formal and not as
official. Yeah.
Strange. But I guess they have those here, too. So Jeff Rimmer is like, hey, do you want to come down and speak to my gang of guys at such and such a, Shady Acres retirement home? Yeah, I got nothing else to do. I have no idea what I would say, but sure, why the hell not? As Alan May, our good friend, says, say yes. Say yes. What's the question?
Yeah.
Just say yes. I'll let you know how it goes, man. But I'm going to be in the shuffleboard room in front of all these guys with white shoes and suspenders talking about whatever the hell they want. They did it in Regina. They do it here. Like I say, people are the same wherever you go. Okay, Darren and I, it's wild. It's wild. It's a movie. Every day, my life's a movie. Always has been. I just go with the flow. It's turned out pretty nice. Oh, you got to go, Darren? Where are you going? What do you got?
Just a call, but let's play breakaway bets. That's okay.
Okay, NHL breakaway bets. We tied last night 3-3. Who wins tonight? St. Louis at Philadelphia?
Philly.
Okay, that's Philly for me too. Montreal at Washington. Who wins?
Ooh, the Caps. Yeah, they're too good.
Me too. Seattle at Toronto.
The Leafs.
I'll take the Kraken. Let's get cracking in Toronto. Boston at Carolina. Who you like?
I like the Hurricanes. The Bruins might miss the playoffs.
You can have Carolina. First game back after a long road trip usually suck when that happens. I'll take the Bruins. Anaheim at Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh has to win, don't they? I'll take the Pens.
I'll take them too. Edmonton at Nashville.
Ooh, give me Nashville. No McDavid.
Me too. The new sexy team. And Chicago at San Jose. Who you like?
I like the Sharks, man. I like the Sharks.
Okay, I'll take the Blackhawk. You go have fun on your call. You said you'll take the Sharks? Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Kevin the Medium's in next. We'll be right back. Little early on the break time here, but that's okay for our operators in Toronto and Atlanta. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, streaming here live on YouTube and, of course, podcast form, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, what's going on? Hour 2 is brought to you by Culligan Water. Clear water, clear choice. Filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Check him out at culliganregina.com. That's where Saturday's marquee playoff CFL game will be played. Let's bring in Kevin the Medium. He is the biggest BC Lions fan that I know, and there are many BC Lions fans. Hi, Kev. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Good. Happy Halloween to you.
Yes, very scary. I love your costume. Lions colors fit very well with Halloween, don't
they? They do. They're the orange and black, man. Orange and black.
Yeah, every Lions game is Halloween, but they're on the road Saturday. And it's funny, Darren or Kevin, you said you wanted to troll the Smurf Mafia today. You understand that you're playing the Riders, right? You know that's the stage is yours.
No, I didn't. I didn't say I wanted to troll the Smurf Mafia. I wanted to make sure they realized, without an act of God, we're playing them this week. They needed God's intervention to win that game against Montreal.
Which is fine. It happened. Yeah, we're not splitting hair. That's all you wanted to say. Okay, I get it. But they're not. They're sitting back and watching this game on Saturday, awaiting the winner between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the BC Lions. And I'm going to ask you, do you have any idea which BC team is going to show up? Because I get a sense nobody knows.
Even with all my crystal balls, all my abilities, I don't have a clue. It's been that type of year for the Lions. Is you turn the TV on and you hold your breath and go, which team is going to show up? I honestly think this team has a bit of a burr in their saddle. The way everything was handled with Rourke coming back, and a lot of the players, I honestly believe, think this team was was VA's team, and it was taken away from them. Now that he's back, I think they have a bit of a burr in their saddle, and they're going to play for VA.
To clarify, I think you might have said the wrong name. You're saying it was VA's team, and it was taken away from him.
Sorry.
Am I right? Yeah, you said Nathan. I just want to get that clear because that's a pretty important distinction there, right? And Winnipeg has woken up. Patrolman Pete writes in, he says, "Hit me with your best shot, Kevin," in all caps. And he says, the divine intervention happened, Kevin. So there. Charlie writes in, he says, "Nice to see Kevin Hughes here. I am subscribed to his podcast for the fun times discussing sports and the fiery opinions on Winnipeg versus BC teams. LOL." You know, they have a lot of fun. I watch the Hughes Sports podcast. It is fun. I tune in as much as I can. You guys do a great job on there. But
thank you.
How confident are you? Because I said this. I'm only picking BC to win this game Saturday because I had a BC Montreal Grey Cup. But that was preseason. I picked that, Kevin. It feels like a freaking year ago. Your team has been through so much this year.
Well, hasn't pretty much every team been through, especially in the West?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at this season, Winnipeg started, 0-5, and they won how many of their the last half? Saskatchewan, they actually won a game after Labor Day for the first time this century. So it's been bizarre. It's been a bizarre year, and I'm glad I'm not a betting man because I'd be broke. Because I can never bet against my Lions. I just can't do it. So if I was spending money, I'd be homeless.
Well, I'm not asking you for a bet. What I will say is this. CFL fans love your show and you because you're football first. You wear your passion on your sleeve. And I'll say this. As a football guy that you are, the BC Lions will win Saturday if fill in the blank.
If the players come out and actually play for VA like they did in their last game, it was pretty much a mean-nothing game. But you could see they had fire in their eyes. They had the pep in their step, if you want to say it that way. If they come out and you'll know, I think we'll know in the first series what team is coming out. My question is, how long is VA's leash? Does he get a half? Does he get a quarter? Do we see? I remember watching. Was it the Western semifinal or the Western final? You and I watched with the Stampeders when it was a semifinal when they had benched Bo Levi and he came in. It was like a WWE event when he walked onto the field. So who knows?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think you know what you're going to get from Sask. It's their best game. They're at home, and I think they'll be good. It's BC is the X factor in this, and nobody knows what it's going to be. By the way, speaking of Bo, my good friend Bo, if you were voting on the Most Outstanding Player Award, because he was named the finalist for the East, he's the rep for the East. He's going against Brady Oliveira of Winnipeg for the West. Who would you vote for?
Oh, it pains me to say this, but I have to take Bo. He had a great season. I heard someone earlier in your chat saying, oh, he was benched and he was horrible. And yeah, he was. But he came back and he lit it up. He was Bo of old. And it was literally, you watch some of the Hamilton games and you're like, wow, did this guy take the fountain of youth? Because he was old Bo. He was running the ball, throwing it a mile. So, yeah, I think he deserves it. Even though his team didn't make the playoffs, he still deserves it.
Yeah, I should stay out of the comments here because they're derailing us here, Kevin. But yeah, but the people that say he was benched, how could he be most outstanding player? Well, thank God you don't have a vote because who cares? He set a tie catch record for passing yards in a season, man. That's why you don't have a vote. I will just say this, I am expecting you and I will be talking on Sunday, but on the record, professionally here on the show, the thing with the Nathan Rourke situation is nobody did anything wrong. If you were the Lions, they would go back and sign him again, right? Like Nathan, nobody saw that coming. It's not like there was an error made here, you know?
The only thing in hindsight, and hindsight is really easy, I think VA should have been given the team back when he got healthy. Same thing when Rourke got hurt in 2022. VA took over, and when Rourke was healthy, it was his team again. That's what they should have done with Vernon. Didn't happen. Now, we were talking on our podcast last night, and what happens now if Vernon Adams catches fire and the team catches fire and runs the next 3 games? All of a sudden, is there a controversy, or do you stick with Rourke?
It's bye-bye Nathan Rourke is what it is. And you had a controversy that the Lions they're trying to cover that up like a bird in the sandbox. And they came out and said, VA's our guy. You know what? And we're going to find out on Saturday whether they made the right decision or not. But I admire the conviction in doing that and doing what was best for the team. Kev, before I let you go, how about the Vancouver Canucks?
You know what? It's that which team is showing up. Not too often I turn a Canucks game off. Not too often I turn a Lions game off. I actually turned the game off last night, went to bed when they were down. I think it was 4-0 when I turned it off. And to be honest, I haven't looked at the score this morning. It's Heckle or Dr. Heckle, Mr. Hyde. You never know which team you're going to get. Pedersen, we don't know what's ailing him. Is it up here or is it in the wrist? Something's wrong there. But it's only 10 games into the season. Lots of time to go. I still say the Canucks will be, I'm going to say, in the top 3 in our division. Or in our conference, sorry.
As you say. I got you. As you say, it's still early. All right, Kev, did you get a new microphone? It sounds very resonant and deep, or maybe it's just you.
It's probably my voice. I've been fighting this dang cold for, I'm going to say 3 weeks now. So I think it's just my raspy voice, Rod.
Okay, well, it sounded very good. You did a great job. Kev, my best to the whole crew. What do people need to know about the Hughes Sports Podcast? Plug it, please.
Every Wednesday, 7 p.m., you can check us out on YouTube at HSP or Hughes Sports Podcast, or on Twitter at HSP. We're just two, and we kind of took the name from Rod. Rod gave us this name. He gave me the name Irrational Fan. And we kind of taken that moniker, and that's what we are. We're irrational fans talking about our favorite teams, and it's just fun. me and my son, and we go back and forth. He goes on a rant. I laugh at him. I go on a rant. He laughs at me. It's just a fun time.
You're welcome for the irrational fan thing. By the way, I wasn't faking that. You are an irrational fan. I saw it in your living room. Kirk in Toronto. I just saw this. Kirk says, could you ask Kevin, please, who wins the East semifinal? What are they saying, Kev? What
It's got to be Toronto. Well, and you know how this works, and everybody always does this to me because I'm a medium. That's what I do. They don't give me the answers. If I did, I'd be doing what I do, so living on a beach in Mexico. Come on. But I honestly think Toronto, that one's going to be, I still say both games are going to be close. I'm picking within a touchdown of each game is going to be within a touchdown. If you've never watched a CFL game, this is a weekend to watch. It's going to be fun.
Here we go. You don't need a crystal ball to see Toronto wins on Saturday. How about that? All right, Kev. Good seeing you, buddy. Talk to you on the weekend.
Thanks, buddy. You betcha. Take care. Happy Halloween.
Overtime. Same to you. Overtime is coming up next. Overtime Hockey Lanes, where I almost killed Kevin, the medium. It's a story for another time. We're live on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, 99.1 FM, streaming live on YouTube and in podcast form at Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hockey teams, are you looking for just the right place for your team bonding sessions and outings? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary with state-of-the-art equipment. Spacious shooting lanes and games for all ages. Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination to build teams, whether they're from the Calgary area or if you're on a road trip from out of town. Book your lanes today, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. And since we have Kevin the Medium here, he's probably still on the line. At the very least, he's probably watching. We're at Overtime Hockey Lanes, and I was not exactly lighting it up in the lane. I wasn't. I was missing the net quite a bit. Kevin was behind me, trolling me from the crowd. So I turned around, shot at him. It was a sponge puck, knocked his hat off. And he's still crying about it. Was it a lucky shot? You'll never know. 902-518-3033 is the Alapera Skincare text line. This Bo Levi thing, we got to put this to bed. And what I mean by that is probably stop talking about it. The poll question today, who's the most outstanding player in the CFL? Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell will represent the East, even though they're missing the playoff. He led the league in passing and set a Ticats record for passing yards. Kind of a big deal. In the West, it's Winnipeg's Brady Oliveira. EMJ Marketing brings you the poll every day. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. I'm on the roster, Jim Barker, Stu Grimson, Mike Vanderjack, just off the top of my head, quite a few great guys. Anyways, Rose is watching in St. Albert, Alberta, where they do the St. Albert strut. She says, apologies, I'm behind in the broadcast, but in 2016 and 2018, Bo won most outstanding player and did not lead the league statistically. It was said that Mike Riley, while doing better than Bo, crossed over and missed the playoffs. Is there a new standard? Bo won the award because his team won. All he does is win. Now he's on a lousy team and not making the playoffs is not a thing. I've got a headache by reading this. The point is, not making the playoffs shouldn't matter in my mind. Did he have an outstanding season? Yes. Press the easy button. Why are we making this so complicated? Could you see a player leading the NHL in scoring on a non-playoff team and winning MVP? I honestly could. I'm not sure it's ever been done. Probably not. But it's kind of a CFL thing. I'm sorry, Peter, I got to check this. Pistol Pete from Regina, he says, Dr. Heckle and Jekyll, the two crows from Hanna-Barbera. He sends us a link. Yeah, we got to get off the air, man. 5 more minutes. Sports update, the Los Angeles Dodgers won their second World Series championship in 5 seasons, overcoming a 5-run deficit with the help of 3 Yankees defensive miscues and rallying on sac flies from Gavin Lux and Mookie Betts in the 8th inning to beat New York 7-6 in Game 5 Wednesday night. Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm hit back-to-back homers in the first inning. Alex Verdugo's RBI single chased Jack Flaherty in the second, and Giancarlo Stanton's third-inning homer against Ryan Brazier built the 5-0 lead for New York. That's when Rod turned the TV off and went to bed. But the Dodgers rallied, helped by a shaky defensive performance by the Yankees. Here's one for you. Are you following the NHL Global Series? Finland is a nation of about 5.5 million people, and it's the homeland for about 5% of NHL players. Finland sends about as many players to the league per capita as Canada and Sweden do, and at a rate way, way ahead of the USA and Russia. And on Friday and Saturday, the gorgeous Nordic country gets to celebrate 7 of those players. 4 from Florida, 3 from Dallas when the Stars and Stanley Cup champion Panthers play a pair of games in Tampere, Finland. We preview it on our Cats and Bolts podcast, which will be dropping this afternoon from Podcast Junkie Studios here in Boca Raton, Florida. Check all my social media for the links. You'll enjoy it. I turned Serena loose on all these NHL topics. It's pretty entertaining. Oakland Athletics executive Sandy Dean says club owner John Fisher and his family will invest $1 billion into the construction of a stadium in Las Vegas, and U.S. Bank and Goldman Sachs will offer a $300 million loan. Dean made his remarks to a special meeting of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board this morning. Dean said 4 letters will be presented at the December 5th authority, asserting financing and construction details. Assuring financing and construction details will be in place. Final approvals are expected to be made at that meeting to allow construction of the $1.5 billion, 33,000-seat dome ballpark. Well, I'll tell you what, this better go through because they've already imploded the Tropicana, didn't they? Where the stadium's going to go? Ooh, wouldn't that be something? Wait, they don't have the money. Oops. The sports update's brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use the promo code RPShow for 15% off your order. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. Well, for the football fans, I should just tell you while we're on the air, mapping this all out for you. We got 3 weeks left in the CFL situation. Then college bowl season, will be delving more into that. Tomorrow, pretty much all football. Jim Barker will be with us. And the Motor City Madmouth, Scott Morganroth, right in here. He's the publisher of the South Florida Tribune. And so my boss for some of my U.S. ventures. And then once football's done, it's going to be a hockey show probably all winter. But for now, a lot of football. And that's what it will be on a Football Friday. Paul in Humboldt. Vote Bo. Glenn in Medicine Hat says BC by 8. That's coming from a Rider fan. Tony in Cochrane. Heard only half of Calgarians will be passing out treats tonight. Sad. Halloween is dying. I'm done. I'm out. See you tomorrow.
Who has more fun than us?